So welcome back. This is still the AM show. Time for us to go into the papers to know exactly what they are reporting. But hello, Ghana. Happy moment is here. Let's storm Qatar this November for the World Cup. 2022 will storm energy drink, Puma soft drinks, and Awake drinking water from Casapreco Company Limited. Simply buy your favorite storm energy drink, Puma soft drinks, and Awake drinking water. Test the 4-digit unique number on the neck of the bottle to short code *780# option 2 and follow the prompt on all networks for free. Be one of the lucky winners to this year's World Cup in the monthly draw. You can also win TVs, fridges, microwave ovens, mobile phones, home theaters, free drinks, and more instantly. Don't waste time. Grab a bottle of Storm Energy drink, Puma soft drinks, and Awake drinking water, and let's storm Qatar this World Cup. This promotion is on the NLA Caritas platform. This advert is also FDA approved. Remember that terms and conditions apply. Well, so on the news review today, we're having an energy analyst, Kojo, joining us as our guest today. Good morning to you. How are you doing?
Oh, my brother, good morning. How are you?
I am well. Second time we're meeting on this network.
Yes, I think we should be meeting very more often.
Well, let's see how it goes. Well, today I have with me the Daily Graphic. We have the Daily Guide, the Finder newspaper, the New Crusading Guide, the Graphic Business, the Economy Times, and let's see what they are reporting. Let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. It says, we will stabilize foreign exchange market. That according to Oppong Nkrumah. Public schools need utmost attention, according to National Best Teacher. Register excavators with MMDAs by November 2. Abuja to owners. And no bail for Aisha Wan, according to judge. Now, on the stabilizing the foreign exchange market, in an effort to halt speculation and stabilize the foreign exchange market, the Bank of Ghana will hold a series of discussions with the leadership of universal banks and forest bureau operators starting today. The Minister of Information, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, who made this known at a press briefing in Accra yesterday, said it was envisaged that the crucial meeting would ultimately ensure that measures were put in place to streamline, sanitize, and provide clarity on the supply chain of the foreign exchange market. That, he noted, would ensure that traders who needed foreign currencies for legitimate transactions would have access to them at official rate. Because this is something that people have been calling for, that look, if we allow the market to dictate it without government intervention, this will continue to really weaken the city. Now, government says we are going to ensure that what you want us to do will be done. What do you make of this particular action by government that would ensure that we make the forex available to people to do legitimate transactions and not just make it available for anybody at all?
Well, good morning again, and good morning to all the KNP fans who are watching across the country. My brother, look, there is one thing that some of us have been saying, and I don't think the government is listening. There is no confidence in our economy. As we speak, no investor has confidence in the Ghana economy, and it is due to a couple of factors. We have been on this thing since February. And since February, everybody has been kid laughing and kid playing around this thing, thinking that it will go away. I have said over and over that problems in economics, problems in a country don't just go away. You need to take decisive actions. You remember when the finance minister came and made the announcement of 30% reduction in CEO salaries and certain measures, making it look like those were some austerities, which for me did not even scratch the surface of what the government needs to do. So all these meetings are good. Seeing government hold a series of meetings is good. But the fundamental problem is that the market, the investors, the people who will help you bounce back your economy and give confidence to the city do not trust anything coming out of the government circles. So you remember Oppong Nkrumah came and said that, look, 750 million is coming. If I were you, I'll go and sell my dollar. That was around 10. After all that, we are now at 15.42 as at yesterday. I was too scared to check as at last night, so I didn't check. But we are hoping that government can do something to bring a stop to this free fall. Because now, as far as the dollar and the cedi is concerned, the wheels is off and the brakes, there are no brakes. So you watch what happened last week. The cedi lost 1 cedi value every day. I spoke to your brother last week, Monday, Bernard, and I told him that if we are not careful, we'll get to 15 by December. We're at 15 by Friday. So this thing about government and also trying to say that speculation, I want us to take that word out of our conversation because there's no speculation. If you are saying that in the government, in the interbank trade is 12.45, that alone in itself is a problem. Because if interbank is 12.45 and the forex is 15, where is the speculation? You understand? It's different if you are telling me that interbank is 9 or 8 and forex is 15. Then clearly there's a problem. But every time we realize that the banks are always cheaper than the forex. So if interbank is 12.4 and forex is 15, clearly there's no speculation.
But it's 3 cedis difference, not too much if you're comparing the interbank with the forex.
Okay, so now let me ask you, if the forex is 12.45 at the bank and the forex and the black market is 15, will anybody go and buy from the forex people if the banks have the dollar? That's the question you should ask yourself. If the bank is selling forex at 12.45, every big business needing forex, banks, they have a bank. But you'll be surprised that it's the bankers themselves that are calling the black market people looking for dollar for their clients because the banks don't have the dollar. So you tell me that it's speculation that is creating this panic. It's speculation that is bringing the price up. But there can't be a price if nobody is buying. It wouldn't be a price. So if the bank is 12.45, then the Makola or the black market people would definitely bring their price down if nobody is buying because it's demand and supply that is inching up the price. But if they are at 12.45 and nobody is buying at 12.45, but the 15 point something keeps going up, it tells you that the 15 point something is what everybody is buying because that's where the demand is. And the more the demand outstrips the supply, simple economics, the prices keep going up. If nobody is going to the Zamrama man, his price will not go up. So we should stop using that word speculation. It's not speculation. The only problem now is that there's a run on our cedi. That's the right word. People are rushing to buy the cedi within panic, and rightfully so. He doesn't know what value the cedi is going to be tomorrow. We don't know what the bottom is. So that is the hard truth. Government holding a series of meetings is important. But for me, what government needs to do is to create confidence in this economy. There is no confidence in the economy. So the investors are no longer bringing their money to invest in Ghana as we speak.
Okay. But on the point of the forex having dollar or dollars than the banks, and that's why demand is really shifted in their position. How is that possible that they do have the dollars and the banks don't have it? Is there a missing link or there's something we're missing?
That's not a question for me to answer. I don't know how the Zamrama man gets his dollar, but the Zamrama man has always had dollars. Look, I ran a forest bureau in Makola, opposite the Rollins Park, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. That was most times where you find me during those days. When I have finished work, I go to Makola Jintex Forest Bureau. I have known that the Zamrama man in Tudu and in Makola has always had forex. How they get their forex, I don't know. But they've always had forex.
Okay. I was asking so because, per the laws, people can only have access to the dollar through the universal banks, isn't it? Are there any other route people can have access?
Not necessarily. You see, look, the thing is that there are a lot of things that goes on in this country that me and you can't talk about it on TV. Okay? So let's leave that one aside.
Okay.
The point is, people manage to find ways of getting dollar into the country, and because the black market offer more rate than the bank, they will sell it to the black market. People even take their dollar from the banks and sell it to the black market because they offer them much more rates. So even in these times that we are having problems, if people have dollar to change, They would rather go and change it with the black market than change it with the banks. So the Zamrama man or the black market always have dollars. How they get it, my brother, there's quite a number of ways that I don't think me and you can discuss on TV.
Okay, interesting. We have been joined on this discussion by one of the role models in this journalism industry. We call him Uncle because really he deserves it. Uncle Ben Efson is also with us. Uncle Ben, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Viewers.
And we are talking about government's plans to stabilize the foreign exchange market. The Minister of Information has given us plans that the cabinet will be meeting, and again, the ministry will be meeting with some stakeholders to discuss how to stabilize the city. One thing that he told us was that they would ensure that traders who needed foreign currencies for legitimate transactions would have access to them at official rate. Now, in our discussion with Kojo, we realized that always the forex bureaus do have dollars more than the banks. What do you think about this move by government to help stabilize the dwindling city?
Thank you. I think that first is an attempt to calm the nerves of the financial markets. Two, I have a friend who runs a forex bureau, and about 3 weeks ago, I just told him something, and about a week later, he said, Ben, what you told me is, I think, happening. You know, what is happening is that if today, for example, the average rate is about 16 cities to the dollar, and tomorrow your program, well watched, is that's a story that the dollar is now 8. Believe me, from this morning, anybody who has the dollar will not sell it below 80. I think that, yes, the city is depreciating, Christmas is coming, there is more demand, and the rate at which it is falling, people are deciding that it's a quick way to make some buck. But the speed, I think, is further pushed by figures that come out. So let's see how it goes. Obviously, there is so much pressure on the dollar, and the government's move is an attempt to calm the nerves. Perhaps if the IMF meetings ending by end of the year, the IMF having something to do with the release of funds, but I suspect that maybe by the time that end of the year comes and the IMF thing comes on, perhaps the dollar may have reached 22 or 23. It's very possible.
All right. Now, let's do the daily guide now. It says, Agrada gets additional 150,000 cedis bail. It says, grabbed over NDC violent pose. Galamsey Queen, interpreter missing, trial adjourned. It comes with a picture of Aisha Wan. Council of State meets president, and that's over the economic challenges. Nana opens Abomosu Bridge. Now, let's tackle the one on the Galamsey Queen. The absence of a Chinese interpreter yesterday caused an Accra High Court to adjourn the trial of N1, also known as Aisha Wan, a Chinese national arraigned for illegal mining, illegal re-entry into Ghana, and other offenses. Justice Lydia Osei Mafo, the presiding judge, yesterday indicated that she had been informed that the interpreter had traveled and an arrangement was made for another one to be provided. But unfortunately, the said replacement was absent when the case was called. She therefore ordered the registrar of the court to ensure that a Chinese interpreter is provided to the court at the next sitting and subsequent ones before the case is called. Let me start with you, Kojo. On this one, what do you make of how we are handling the Aisha Wan case? People say it looks like it's a deliberate attempt to make sure the case travels for a longer time. What do you make of it?
Who needs that interpreter? Which of those people on trial needs interpreter? I'm confused.
No, just so she can understand what's happening, isn't it?
She speaks very good English. She speaks very good English. She writes very good English. Please, why does she need an interpreter? Why does she need an interpreter? When she went to get a Ghana card in the northern region, did she have an interpreter?
We don't know of that.
I'm telling you, she did not. So please, let's move these things along. My brother, we live in a country where maybe the court process says that, look, maybe the court says there should be one. Because I have been to court where it's a magistrate court, I speak good English, but they still translated it in Chi. So maybe it is a process of the court where...
Exactly. So I was going to say that is a procedure, the language you choose to use.
Yes, maybe, but the woman does not need an interpreter. But the point is, some of these things, when it happens in our courts, then we all understand why cases can go to 4 or 5 years. All because of an interpreter, a case is adjourned. Meanwhile, you could just postpone the case for another 2 hours or 1 hour, and you can drive one in from the... Chinese interpreters in this country are abound. A lot of our kids, our brothers, our sisters have been to China to school, and if you want a Chinese interpreter, in less than an hour, you get one. I didn't see why there should be whole adjournment. Maybe the adjournment to another day. But what day? You realize that by the time you go in, this lawyer will say, oh, my lord, can I take a date? I have to go to Takrady for a case. This lawyer will come in and say, my lord, okay, it's okay, no problem. Just adjournment alone in our judiciary system can let a case travel 1 year. Just adjournment alone. Oh, the lawyer in this is not well. He's gotten a funeral. He couldn't come back. That is how our judiciary system sometimes works. And it's a pity. For me, we should be more serious and on the case than we have been. And that is why in my submission sometimes I say that, look, we should have a process, we should reform the judiciary system so that no criminal case should travel more than 2 years. Okay, so that everything is done within the space of time. If you have to adjourn, you can adjourn for a couple of hours and get one in. It doesn't take more than an hour to find an interpreter, a Chinese interpreter.
Okay.
So, but the lady speaks good English. She doesn't need an interpreter. So maybe it's the court process that needs it, but the lady doesn't need it.
Let me bring you in, Uncle Ben, here. From the way the case is going, the court is really has re-emphasized that they still want to keep with the police until this case is really determined, because they've denied the lawyer all the applications for her to be granted bail. How does this tell of Ghana's effort to deal with illegal mining?
What's happened to Aisha Wang should be what should happen to the other Ghanaian financiers of Galamsey. You know, I mean, recently, in one of the forests, they arrested 3 Chinese and 2 Ghanaians. But 6 or 7 excavators managed to vanish. Excavators are not sports cars, Benz cars. So if you're able to arrest those operating these machinery, these machines, how can the excavators suddenly vanish? I think that Santini made a very valid point when he said that we must be tougher on those who finance the Galamsey activities. I think that the court is very reluctant to give bail, not because I think the court is being discriminatory, but I think that given the circumstances of how her case ended, I suspect that the court wants to deal with it, and we should give them the benefit of the doubt. But I believe that those who are set on operations, these anti-Galamsey operations, I believe that they must be changed quickly. I mean, at least you spend 2-3 weeks, maximum 1 month, then another batch goes in. Because I think that when they are more comfortable, they are in their comfort zone, they stay 3-4 months. How can an excavator vanish and the human beings, we can get them? So I think that if we get the source, that is the financiers, we'll take a giant step. But Aisha Wang, I'm sure the court wants to really deal with it quickly.
All right, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, if you go into the finder, there's a story that I would want to relate to this one. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Janapo, says all excavators need to be registered by November 2, and if you fail to do that, your machine will be confiscated. Uncle Ben, you just said that we should also try and ensure that we are applying the same stringent measures we are applying to Ashawan case to the Ghanaian financiers. This step by the ministry that let's get all excavators registered by November 2. How will this also help in the fight against illegal mining?
Well, if you register your excavator, I'm sure there are details, engine number, and so on. That will be a good way of tracking. First, if by November 2nd, the registration date closes, any excavator not registered must be seized. And I think that the ministry must have juicy reward for those who will report the presence of unregistered excavator, because I believe that when you register, they must be able to give you a sticker so that anybody who sees an excavator in operation or an excavator parked somewhere will know that this is a registered one. If they don't, then reports will be made. They can make a report to the media, take a video or a shot of where it is, and it must be seized. I think that it's a step in the right direction, and once juicy rewards are made, there are many unemployed young men in these areas who will make it a duty of going around and exposing unregistered excavators hidden somewhere. Because once you register and it is found, the people may run away. It will be easier to track you, the owner. So I think a good step in the right direction.
Okay. Kojo, how does this inspire you in terms of our effort to really deal with illegal mining?
Not much. I have said that yes, like my big brother, Mr. Epson said, roping in charges on the financiers. I have said that is a very big step to stop galamsey. We need to start roping in. When the galamsey people are arrested, the person in the pit, the person operating the machine, the guy in East Legon who is financing that operation should get the same charge and be arraigned in court as the guy who is operating the machine and in the pit. If we start doing that, the financiers will stop financing galamsey, because you now start seeing some really posh men in Accra in court for galamsey. Okay, and all that, half of the galamsey issues in Ghana will stop. The other thing about the registration on its own is not enough. Tracking. I have said that we should put trackers. Somebody should find money to get these tracking companies to track these excavators. Where they put these excavators, there is no human traffic. I have been to the Pristia area and the Ankobra area where some places are not accessible. The times when we are, because I am doing some small hydro projects, and the place we want to go, we have to beg the Galamsey people to give us their boats to transport us on the Ankobra to where we want to go, because it's not accessible. So they are the only ones who can access these areas, and they access it through various ways in the bush and get there. But they give us their boat and they transport us on the Ankobra to the point where we come off. And you see them doing galamsey there. So where they can put the excavator is not a place that naturally there's traffic for someone to go and see. But if there's a tracker, and it's in the river, it's on the river or it's in the forest reserve, you can see the tracking company can pinpoint it to you that, look, this excavator is not supposed to be where it's supposed to be. So registration is good, but trackers on them to track them real time is very important.
Okay. At this point, I need to note that the Minerals Commission has a project like that they have even started piloting it. They are tracking some devices, and they have given zones so that if your machine moves from this concession out of the buffer zone, it immediately stops. Someone operating a machine in Accra will stop it, not even in your area. So that's also in the pipeline that the Minerals Commission is doing. So the tracking bit is also being implemented.
My brother, what are we piloting? We all know how trackers work. What are we piloting? Put a tracker on an excavator. What is there to track? What is there to pilot? What is there to pilot?
According to them, they wanted to test how the system will work.
Most companies have trackers on their car. What are we piloting? I mean, some of these things in the pipeline. Meanwhile, our water body is spoiling. What are we? What is this, my brother? Pilot. What are we piloting?
Okay.
It's an action. Take it or not take it. What are we piloting?
Interesting. So on the same Finder newspaper, the front page, Occupy Ghana says, Akunta mining case key test to end Galamsey. I'm sure Kojo Poku, you agree with them.
That what?
That Akunta mining case is key test to ending Galamsey. That's what Occupy Ghana is saying.
Every case is key test in mining. I don't know why people make a big fuss about Akunta mining because our brother Wuntumi is involved. Look, everybody, I don't see why we tend to segregate this matter. Guilty is guilty. I mean, Akunta mining plus all the other mining companies is key test in ending Galamsey, not just Akunta mining. Why are we just making sure that if you solve one person's case, everything goes away? What, if Wuntumi stop mining, all the other mining companies will stop? And that's not the case.
Okay. All right. The new crusading guy says community sensitization against illegal mining is key. Mrekuduka charges. Baumia, government petition to audit all foreign firms. Now help create 80,000 jobs, 1,000 hectares of degraded land to be reclaimed. That's the national alternative employment livelihood program that the government instituted. I'll fix the economy. Akufo-Addo declares business, graphic business has no need for new taxes. Individual businesses too fatigued to pay more. Uncle Ben, let me start with you on the graphic business. With the coming in of the IMF deal, economic experts have been talking about this and warning government that there's no need for us to introduce new taxes because, look, people are tired in paying new taxes. What do you make of it?
Well, I think that there is no free lunch. You know, when the IMF comes in, they will come in with certain benchmarks and they will be monitoring. So once we are going in for the IMF, clearly many of us expect that there will definitely be, it won't be as business as usual. There will be a cap on expenditures. There will be a cap on what the government needs to do. The important point is that I think the first step is when the IMF comes in, there will be stability in the dollar exchange rate. You know, we hear stories, and I've seen videos, friends have recorded videos of the two of us go to a place, we negotiate to maybe buy a gallon of oil, and I pay and deposit, as I'll come back for it, and you say that, oh, you come back in 20 minutes. By the time you come back in 20 minutes, you have to pay more because the price has changed. I'm not a businessman, but if for those of us in the newspaper business, we feel it in the newsprint prices. So if a trader, Christmas is coming, a trader, let's say in June, imported some containers of a commodity with the dollar at maybe 8 cedis, 9 cedis to the dollar. And now that next consignment is going to be about 15 or 16 cedis to the dollar. He or she will have to increase the price of the goods now, so that when the import comes in, he's able to cover up. Once there is that stability in the exchange rate, I believe that it will not go down drastically.
Okay.
But there will be some leveling in terms of pricing, and this will ease pressure on the economy and the average Ghanaian.
Okay. Kojo, I'm sure definitely do you agree with these three experts who say that, look, we don't need any more taxes, but Uncle Ben also says there's no free lunch anywhere. How do we draw the line between the two?
Well, I think the revenue side, we need improvement in efficiency in revenue collection. I don't think increasing revenue is the solution now. What the problem is the expenditure side. If you remember far back in January or December last year, I said on some platforms that when the minister went on the floor of the parliament and said that his expenditure for the year was 150 million, and everybody clapped and didn't question it. I was surprised. Then later, the finance minister came back and said he's done a review downwards of about 20% to 130 million. Again, I said that how are you going to spend 130 million when your total revenue is 70 billion at best? You cannot come in and do a budget, said I'm going to spend 150 billion. And that is where our problem started.
Okay.
You realize that the Fitch and those rating companies started downgrading us from there because they realized that the government did not have any plans to fix the physical space. Your total revenue can be 70 billion and you're looking to spend 150 billion. Where from that money? Then you came and reduced it further to 130 billion. Okay, knowing very well you don't have that money to spend. And your whole idea is to borrow, 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 borrow. So what IMF is coming to do is to reduce that expenditure. Bring you within a physical space of, let's say, 10%, 15% above your revenue. So around 90 billion is where we should be in terms of expenditure. So that it's going to be raked down. Then they will help you to bring in efficiency in your revenue collection. I honestly don't think that Ghanaians can take any more tax increases. I've said that we are squeezing water out of a rock. Okay.
I'm grateful to you, but I'll give 30 seconds each for you to share your thought on these because on the Delhi New Crusading Guide, it says NIALP. Today is the 1 year after NIALP was created or launched. It has created 80,000 jobs, and we are told 1,000 hectares of degraded land to be reclaimed. 30 seconds each for you. Let me start with you, Kojo Poko.
I will use my 30 seconds to say hi to my big brother, Benefsen. On all his pollings that he's done, he's never mentioned Kojo Poko as presidential aspirant in there. He mentioned other people's name, and Uncle Ben, I'm very upset when I see that. I'm very hurt when I see that. So I'm hoping that going forward, when you do your polling, you will find out if Kojo Poko has any chance as MVP flag bearer.
Okay. Uncle Benefsen, let me give you 30 seconds.
Oh, Kojo, I've taken notes, but I think that the pudding will be how you'll be able to get some of your people elected. So I'll put your name up and we'll see maybe by mid next year when perhaps the flag bearership elections are held. I wish you the best of luck in advance.
All right.
Thank you. I was hoping you do something before Christmas, so my name will be out there.
Yes, boss. I hear you.
Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm grateful that you found time to join us. Kojo Poko is an energy expert, and Uncle Benefsen is a journalist. You know, he is the editor for I think the Dispatch newspaper there. But well, that does it for the news review here. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you sports on the AM show. Stay with us.